What is going on, guys? It's Goofy Hero here, and today we are going to be talking about all the changes that have been announced that are going to be made in Ark Survival Ascended. Now, a few guys asked me to do this video, and honestly, I saw a lot of other people giving their opinions on the changes and what they thought it'll do to the game, and, I thought I might as well give mine as well. It's a little late, the crunch came out a while ago, but we're here now. So, I'm only going to be touching on the more controversial topics and not everything, because this video would be hours long if I did that. But obviously we all know that the graphical changes and the server performance changes and everything of that nature is extremely beneficial for the game, and we're all going to enjoy it. At least 99% of us are going to enjoy it. So we're just going to be talking about the big things that kind of everybody's kind of on the fence about. So I'll start probably with one of the biggest ones: cryopods. Obviously, Wildcard announced that there aren't going to be cryopods on the launch of Ark Survival Ascended, and yeah, that's a big one. But I am all for it because, well, the meta kind of got pretty stale near the end of Ark Survival Evolved, with just everybody using pocket dinos or immediately getting into a fight and running away. And cryopods were originally added for server performance. At least one of the reasons was just to boost server performance, and hopefully that won't really be an issue now. So, I kind of enjoy the idea of massive land battles between everybody just moving Rexes in and Gigas in, and having to fly tames, having a Rhino Napha, bring in a racer so that you can soak things. It'll just be a lot more fun and a lot more immersive rather than just, show up, throw a dino out, go. Throw another dino out, go. You know what I mean? It'll be a lot more, hopefully, enjoyable and a little more intense, and hopefully the PvP just means a little more because you have to kind of take that extra step to get into that situation. And obviously later, everybody's worried about getting dinos into caves and moving them around the map, and obviously teleporters exist. When we're in the position where you have to move hundreds of dinos in for a raid, you're just going to TP them in and everything will be good. So overall, I think the no cryopods change is a good one. Most likely it'll probably be added back in a later DLC, but for now, at the start, I think it'll be a good change. Now, the next biggest change, and another one I see a lot of PvP creators kind of complaining about, is the no movement speed change. And, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm all for this. A lot of people bash on me for the quality of my foot PvP, and I'm going to be first to say it. I'm not great at foot PvP, but, obviously I've managed to achieve some decent things without being good at it. But I do enjoy the fact that I'm not going to have to move my mouse across my desk 15 times in a fight because the guy's running around me with 200% movement speed. So, yeah, I'm all for this. I think a lot of things that this is one of the big things that people complain about when they watch it or new players get into it, is that it's just so weird. It's so different right now from any other game. You don't see any other game where you're running circles around each other just to fight, and this should make it feel a lot more linear, a lot more like fights matter, and that, instead of just hoping to get like a good Fabi clip, you're just, actually aiming, you're actually playing cover, and you're not just running around at max movement speed. And hopefully this will change the raiding meta going forward. Hopefully we're not just 200% move speed running into bases, being able to run entire death walls on foot, and we actually have to commit dinos to the raid. So one of the other big changes that is coming with ASA is obviously the cave changes, and in my personal opinion, this is a massive W, because let's face it, the current cave meta really isn't that enjoyable. It's just kind of stale, crouch caves are the best, big lunars and stuff like that. So these cave changes, now we don't know how drastic they'll be. They could only be maybe changing a crouch to a player size entrance, but just as long as they remove the crouches, so it's not super just stale PvP defenses, raids, I'm all for it. So yeah, I think the Ark metas needed a rework for some time, and this should hopefully do it. And I know that they've kind of teased that the caves won't be completely changed, like they're not going to make Ice Cave into a racer size entrance, but just even a small change is so beneficial for the meta. So another change that they mentioned, and they didn't really talk about this much, it's probably one of the least talked about changes, but it is my favorite, is the building overhaul change. Now, we have no idea what this is. We don't know really anything. They just said building overhaul with some new items and smaller teepees. But if this stops the bad building around the edges of walls and floors and stuff, and allows us to have a little more sophistication in our builds, and foundation support isn't as wonky, that's amazing. This game, the building in this game is pretty complicated right now, and you kind of need to know what you're doing. But if it can open up to being a little easier for newcomers to build, that's a huge plus for the game. New people coming to the game actually being able to know what they're doing is amazing. And obviously, hopefully, we don't have to pillar drop foundations anymore, and we can just select snap points or something like that. So yeah, building overhaul, great change. So another change that they didn't really go into detail on is new gameplay items. Now, we have no idea what this is. This could be anything from new building parts, weapons, tools, saddles, saddle variations. We have no idea. But if it spices up the game and even a little bit, a new weapon that becomes part of the meta, you're carrying on your hotbar all the time, that would be amazing. Now, do I think it's going to be a new weapon? I don't know. That's a lot to add, and I feel like they would have teased something about it, but obviously we haven't gotten much in terms of teasers anyway, so we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it is some new meta-changing item. So now the new AI pathing changes should be very interesting. Hopefully, gone are the days you just sit on a rock and trank out any tame. You actually have to trap it or be smart with kiting it around. This should change the game from feeling just easy to hopefully feel more like a survival game. I know not everybody wants that in the PvP community, but if it does make the PvE side of the game a little more interesting while you're PvPing, tames are harder to fight, tames are harder, or not tames, but, PvE, just wild dinos are harder to fight, harder to escape from, harder to, tame. That's just going to be a big positive for the entire community. And the last big change I'm going to talk about is dino tracking. Now, it's not a huge change, but it is an interesting one, because when bases have thousands of dinos, thousands of breeders, and they say that you can track every single dino you own, that's going to be interesting. And I hope it's not too laggy when, I go to track my wyvern that's out, or PT, whatever, that's out and about, and I have to scroll through 1,500 breeders, and hopefully it's all good. But if it does work properly and everything's good, you can search up the name or something. It's a good change overall. So in conclusion, obviously I think my takes on a lot of these things are different from a lot of other people, especially in the PvP community, but I have a much broader approach to the game. I want everything to work for everybody so that the population of the game just skyrockets. We all love this game. I think everybody wants the best for this game, and hopefully going into Ark Survival Ascended, we see a great launch and a lot of good content coming out of this. So yeah, with the cryopod changes and everything, maybe at the start they're going to be a little rough and going to take a lot to get used to, but I think it will be beneficial in the long run for just the meta and the play style and everything. It should hopefully be beneficial for us all. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of all these changes in the comment section down below. And make sure to comment if you want to see me talk about anything else ASA. Obviously, we got another crunch coming up here in a few days. Hopefully with a release date. Hopefully with some news. But if you guys do want me to talk about anything in particular, be sure to comment it. And subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next one.